That's right. Here we are, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the Dr. Quack Podcast. Yeah, I've got a big show here today. Normally I talk about a lot of things, but this week I'm mainly covering professional wrestling. Why? Well, there's a lot of reasons. And my first reason is something that happened this past week. This past week, a guy named Jacob Ryan. Jacob Ryan, independent professional wrestler, had a match with a guy named Brad Anderson. If you've been following, you understand this story I'm getting ready to tell, but I want to give my views on it. Because basically what happened was, there's a thing in the wrestling business. It's called, shooting, Basically, where we got there is where a guy in the ring, everybody will tell me it's scripted, it's choreographed, it's all that, right? I get it. We put on a show, but there's sometimes a thing called a shoot. And what happened was, basically, when I'm not sure the exact reason why this happened, I don't know it for sure, but Brad Anderson decided to take liberties on himself, to go out there and beat the crap out of this guy on purpose. There's videos out there, if you look at different links, like You Are Not Getting Booked. There's several links out there on the internet that'll be able to show you the match. My thoughts on it, it's totally unacceptable. Brad Anderson should never be allowed in the ring again. When it comes to a shoot, a real fight, you take that outside the ring. What are you doing when you do that? You're taking away from the fans. Generally, shoots are something that most people don't care to see. They want to see a match. They want to see a story being told. But no, they want, a bunch of guys to come out there and just beat the crap out of each other for no reason. And if you watch this, he had a nice concussion here. Excuse me. Gotta love windy days, I'll tell you. Blows my door. But anyways, he decided to come out there. And he literally took this guy's head and drove it into the ground. We all know how a DDT is supposed to work if you've been in the wrestling business or if you follow the wrestling business, But he literally took liberties on this guy, There's a difference between a receipt and what he did. A receipt, I get it. You get in the ring, some guy hits you hard, and it might get a little stiff. You give it back to him. Sure. That's acceptable. What this guy did was totally unacceptable. Brad Anderson, you should, I dare you, because I'm going to tell you, your opponent that you took on, Jacob Ryan, from what I'm being told, is entering the 40-man over-the-top rope battle royal, epic battle royal, in Atlanta, Georgia, down with Stranglehold Championship Wrestling. I am one of those participants. I believe Jacob Ryan will be there, and, I give him enough respect, because at least he respects the business. But Brad Anderson, I dare you to come out and come in that 40-man battle royal. You better hope to God I'm not in that ring, because liberties will be the least thing I'm taking from you. So you better just, I'd get out of the business if I were you. I wouldn't even try to work another match in my life if I was you. But enough about that. I had to get that off my chest. There's no room for that. Respect the business, what you are, taught, perfect your craft. That right there is just totally uncalled for. But on the bigger news, we got the WWE Money in the Bank pay-per-view this Sunday. Everybody talks about, how watered down the WWE is getting, and in my opinion, it's definitely not the Attitude Era. We will definitely, I think everybody will agree on that. It's not bad. It's got its good points. I want to go over some of the matches here and then get back to that. But so we have Universal Championship. AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins. Should be a classic. I think they're going to probably, blow the roof off the house there. They probably won't be the main event because other matches seem to dictate that. It'd be nice if they were. I think they're actually going to have a great match. I'm going to give it to AJ Styles. I think that he comes out on top. I think they love the fact, the WWE loves the fact that he is the face, when he's on a certain show. Like he was the face on SmackDown. He was the house that AJ Styles built. They'll probably try to mimic that over here to Raw. That will not shock me. WWE Championship, Kofi Kingston versus Kevin Owens. That one there, and this is all subject to change when it comes to these Money in the Bank ladder matches. I'm getting into that in a sec. But Kevin Owens against Kofi Kingston, another one. They should be able to perform pretty well. Hopefully they let them go and let them work instead of, doing their same stuff that they always do. But I'm sure, it'll be a decent match. I will probably take Kofi Kingston to retain. I feel that Kofi Kingston will probably hold his belt until SummerSlam. Usually, a champion, when he wins it at Mania, usually holds it until a major pay-per-view. Not that Money in the Bank isn't, but it wasn't one of the original four. Talking about Survivor Series, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, and the Royal Rumble. One of them four. That's generally where you see a title change. Not always, but, it could be. And then you got the Raw Women's Championship. Let me tell you, one of my favorites, Lacey Evans, taking on Becky Lynch for the title. Becky Lynch has 2 matches. And this is how I'm kind of wondering if it's going to go down like this. Is it going to go down, where Raw fights her first or SmackDown? Because SmackDown has Charlotte Flair taking on Becky Lynch. And will they be back-to-back? This is almost a scenario I can see in my head. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch will end up fighting first. Charlotte Flair will somehow win the title. And it'll be a long, exasperating match. You'll probably see Becky Lynch kind of exhausted. And in comes Lacey Evans, fresh as a daisy, comes in, probably gives her the women's right. Great move. I'm telling you, for a female, it looks deadly. Even for a male, it looks deadly. Probably ends up winning Raw's title. I can see Becky Lynch actually dropping both titles. I would like to see her hold one because she is a great person to have as the face of the female division. The women's division, I think she would definitely strive there. But Lacey Evans, I think, also would do pretty well. I like her gimmick. It seems very old school, but it seems like it does the job. So I think it'll be great there. And this is another reason why, these next two here. We got the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. You've got Ricochet, you've got Drew McIntyre, Andrade there, Baron Corbin, Finn Balor, you got Ali over there, Randy Orton, Sami Zayn. All those people. And, of course, Braun Strowman. Go figure. Braun Strowman this week, the week before the show, gets taken out and Sami Zayn gets put in. And I love Money in the Bank ladder matches. There's 2 reasons why I love Money in the Bank ladder matches. Usually, the winner of the Money in the Bank ladder match has a high percentage chance of making a great scene and cashing in their Money in the Bank and winning. Also, you're going to see a lot of guys. And if you look at this match in particular, you've got a lot of guys here that will take the extreme falls, the bumps. They will go off the ladder. They will go through tables. It'll probably be, one of those style matches. If I had to make a prediction, and this is why I make this prediction, only reason, it could go any way, but if this is how I think it goes, Andrade there, he is going to win it. Why? Who's his girlfriend? Charlotte Flair. Power couples here, speaking of which. Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins. This is why I have both of them losing their titles. Power couples, I just see something crazy like that happening. Also, you got the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. One of my other favorites finally making her return, Alexa Bliss. It's beautiful to see her come back. She's a talented heel. That's something that I really like to, you know, I'm glad to see that she can come out there and kick some ass again. She is the cowardly heel. She does it well. But her, Naomi, Natalya, Dana Brooks, Bayley, you know, Mandy Rose, Ember Moon, and Carmella. That is going to be, you know, another match. And in either one of these Money in the Bank ladder matches, don't be shocked if they cash it in that night. I will not be shocked. You know, if I had to go with the women's title match, I'm probably going to take Alexa Bliss. I just feel like they want her back on top. She drew as a heel. That's a bad girl, as you might say. She drew, and I think that, you know, people love to hate her, but guys loved her. You know, women loved her to hate her. You know, it's that kind of thing, like Ravishing Rick Rude style there. And she was talented in the ring. That's why I think she might win it. But that's anybody's guess there. I mean, as you see, the big three already fighting in titles, talking about Lacey Evans, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch. You know, one more match I wanted to cover, Miz versus Shane. If I had to give you storyline of the year, I believe that is storyline of the year. Miz versus Shane. The things that they went through, how they were, you know, best in the world tag team partners. Their dad was a part of it, and then Shane turned his back. He beat the crap out of his dad. He beat the crap out of Miz. They've been fighting on and off all week. They had a great Falls Count Anywhere match at WrestleMania when he went right through the suplexed him off the camera position there. That was incredible. Great. You know, the bump off the golf cart, I believe, as a, you know, wrestler, that was truly, you know, one of those ones that got my stamp of approval. It was really incredible. He hit it, slid right off. But this match is in a cage match, Miz versus Shane. I think Miz comes out on top. I think somehow, of course, Miz's dad will either be out there. There'll be some involvement. Will not shock me, you know. But I think Miz comes out on top on this. And that's matches I wanted to cover. There's other matches, of course, with the pay-per-view. But these are the main ones that I wanted to talk about. And speaking of WWE, right, there's another company too. I mean, this is, if you look at this scenario, there's a lot of things that go down in this, right? You have the WWE. Vince McMahon, he owns the WWE. He owns the XFL, right? Two companies. One he is predominantly involved in. The other one he just owns. You know, and if you look at its competition, you know, let's start with wrestling here. WWE now has competition a little bit. Some people don't look at it. Some people look at it like it's major competition. And I'm talking about All Elite Wrestling. They have their show coming up in June. They have, you know, two matches that I would say that intrigue me. One is Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes. And the reason why it intrigues me is more nostalgia than anything. Because, you know, Dustin Rhodes, Gold Dust, however you want to call him, you know, was an exceptional worker that, you know, did very well. I mean, to follow your dad's footsteps there, talking about Dusty, did very well and had a long, tremendous career and definite Hall of Famer, whatever Hall of Fame you ever want to put him in. WWE, Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, the Cauliflower Hour Club, you know, a lot of those. Definitely, he belongs there. Taking on Cody Rhodes, you know, WWE, I don't think they knew what to do with him, so that's why they said, here, let's make you Stardust. Stardust, you know. He's definitely done better since he's left. That match is more nostalgia for me. I see Cody going over because why would Dustin go over? Dustin is towards the end of his, you know, running professional wrestling, and they want to push the new. And, you know, Cody Rhodes being the face of this thing, you know, is definitely a big thing there. And then you got Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho. This is the other match that intrigues me. Every other match on there, I don't know the people, who they are. They're independent wrestlers, you know, upper independent, I'm guessing. But a lot of these guys I have not seen, so I can't really comment on it. You know, those guys, Omega versus Jericho, I think they pulled it off once in Japan. Hardcore fans definitely know. They have seen that match, and they knew it was incredible. I gave it a 5 out of 5. You know, it was very good. To duplicate that in the United States is going to be another story. You know, but I think they'll have a very good match. That'll be something worth watching. You know, But the problem lies there with this, in my opinion. It's not the dessert, as I call it, your main event, semi-main event. It's your setting of the table. It's your silverware. It's all the fixings. It's the turkey, but it's not the dessert. Because the rest of it, everybody says that AEW is going to compete with Vince McMahon and is better than the WWE. And that's something that remains to be seen. But that bottom 6-8 card right there, how does that compare with Vince McMahon? It doesn't. It really doesn't. The production value is not there in comparison. I mean, definitely, those two matches should draw in a maximum capacity crowd if it hasn't already. I'm sure it has. But it'll be interesting to see how that works. And, of course, who owns AEW? Who is one of the big owners there? That would be the owner, Mr. Khan, of the Jacksonville Jaguars, the XFL, right? I'm sorry, the NFL, excuse me. Because that's where it all ties in here. Next year, in case you don't know, next year, 2020, the collective bargaining agreement ends. And if you haven't seen the grievances between the players and the owners, already you know how Roger Goodell is judge, jury, and executioner, where he gets booed every time he comes on television. That's right. Everybody's like, go F yourself, Roger Goodell. Because nobody likes him. He's been banned from several stores in the New England area for many reasons and other places as well. But you look at that, how are you going to, because the owners, they want an 18-game season. That's what they really want. They want them to play 2 more games for the same amount they're paying them. But yet, the players, like I said, they want judge, jury, and executioner to stop. So there's got to be some medium there. Which brings up my point of the XFL. Because you're going to have a holdout. I guarantee you there's going to be a holdout next year. Whether it lasts 30 days, 60 days, an entire season even. I doubt it goes that far, but I can see a holdout regardless. Probably right before the season started, the last time the holdout happened. It was about a week or 2 before they actually got back together and played football. They had the replacement referees on a holdout when the referees were holding out. The AFL referees, or whatever they were. I'm sorry, the NCAA referees that got hired. And yet you look at it and you say, wow, the NFL could be in trouble, right? Because XFL is owned by Vince McMahon. And Vince is smart on this. This is where he's smart. He's got 2 different entities here. WWE, he can control. He can run that as he pleases. He's got a lot of wrestling minds with him to help him run it. But the XFL has, a lot of football minds. All Vince is doing is putting the money to it. Just like Mr. Khan with AEW. So it'll be interesting to see how this turns out. I'm telling you, the bigger thing that most people aren't looking at either. Everybody talks about the NFL draft. We just had the NFL draft in Nashville, Tennessee. And of course, there's 7 rounds, right? There's 250 some odd picks that get picked every year. But there's over 1,000 people that want to play, right? So you have a lot of undrafted free agents, So will the XFL take care of that? Will they sign them? Will some players go, I don't want to play in the NFL? Because the XFL is trying to compete. I got a feeling this is going to be a big factor next year. Not in this year's draft coming up, but the year after. It's where you're really going to see something, especially if the XFL succeeds in their first season. It's definitely something to watch. I keep my eye on it consistently because I like to hear everything that's going on, especially with the XFL. They got 8 teams. Granted, it's not 32 teams, but it's an alternative, kind of like AEW to the WWE. So it's something that I am very interested in. So keep your eye out on that one. Also, my final thing to talk about here today. In a group that I run on Facebook, we have already, we have begun a greatest of all time 80s tournament. And we broke it down into 5 categories. Horror, action, science fiction, drama, and the last one, which is the first tournament we actually ran, comedy. The comedy tournament was very tough, and a lot of people, trust me, they have aired their grievances on the page. You know, that a lot of people were mad because certain movies did not make it, or certain movies got beat by other movies. That's the thing when you're doing the greatest of all time. So the creme of the creme, the cream of the crop, the winner of the comedy tournament to advance to the fatal 5-way scramble, where it'll be voted on by this group. And it's roughly about 60 people that are seeing this, roughly voting here. Some of them are not voting, but there's still about 60 people seeing. So this is just our thing. My movie of the week recommendation was the winner of this. One of my all-time faves, definitely, you know, Spaceballs. If you have not seen Spaceballs, and there's a lot of Star Wars people out there that I'm sure have seen Spaceballs. It's a comedy spoof to it, but it was such a great comedy. It was an 80s movie. My recommendation, check it out. I give that one the Dr. Quack seal of approval. So check that out. And I hope to see you all next time. That is all I have. Thank you for checking me out. Thank you for watching. If you can, like and share this video. If you can, subscribe. You know, I'd like to get more viewers. Just like to be able to see what people's thoughts are. Right on the bottom. Tell me what you thought about this podcast. And tell me what you'd like for me to talk about next. All right, folks. Thank you.